The stars were calm that night, silent and distant, stretching endlessly across the void. In the Andromeda sector, a lone human ship moved like a shadow, cutting through the dark space. Its sleek hull reflected the faint light of dying suns, yet inside, tension was high. Captain Elias Ward stood on the bridge, his eyes scanning the holographic displays. His crew, trained for the unimaginable, waited silently, each aware of the history they were about to make. Across the galaxy, the alien cruiser Vorthen patrolled the sector, confident in its strength. Hundreds of alien ships had formed a fleet armed with plasma cannons, energy shields, and advanced war tactics. They had never feared humans. They thought them primitive, slow, and predictable. That confidence was about to shatter. Elias tapped a button on the console, and the ship hummed, a low vibration that spoke of immense power. Target locked. His voice was calm, almost casual. His crew glanced at each other in surprise. No one had ever seen a human ship do this. The Vorthen sensors suddenly flared with warnings. Unknown object detected. An alien voice screamed over the comms, sharp and panicked. But before they could react, a flash of light streaked through space, faster than anything they had ever seen. The human railgun fired. The projectile tore through the void, silent but deadly. Within seconds, it struck the lead alien cruiser. The impact was catastrophic. The ship shuddered violently, its hull cracking under the force. Explosions rippled across the Vorthen, throwing debris into the void. Alien crew screamed in terror, some unable to comprehend what had just happened. One shot, one human ship, one devastating strike. Across nearby systems, sensors picked up the destruction. Word began to spread. A human ship destroyed a cruiser with a single shot? No one could believe it. Fleet commanders froze, calculating the impossible. Their weapons seemed weak, their strategies meaningless. Humans had never shown such power. Elias didn't smile, but a faint curve of satisfaction touched his lips. He turned to his communications officer. Send the message. Let them know humans are here. The officer hesitated. Sending a warning now could spark a war, but hesitation was not an option. With a nod, she pressed a button. Across the subspace network, the simple message appeared. Humans have arrived, and we fight differently. In the alien council chambers, alarms blared. Leaders from multiple species stared at the reports, disbelief etched on every face. It cannot be, hissed Vorthen's commander. One human? One ship? The holographic display showed the flattened cruiser, now a cloud of twisted metal and smoke. Panic spread like wildfire. Meanwhile, the human ship moved silently. Another target appeared on the sensors, a smaller patrol vessel trying to investigate the destruction. Prepare Railgun, Elias said. His crew moved with precision. No hesitation, no fear. The humans understood one simple truth. The galaxy underestimates them at its own risk. The patrol vessel's weapons flared, plasma beams streaking toward the human ship. Shields activated. But the humans were already ready. Another shot, precise and deadly, and the vessel disintegrated before it could fire again. Silence returned to the void. Only the hum of the human ship remained. Somewhere in the depths of space, alien scouts recorded the events. They would tell others, exaggerate the fear, and spread the legend. Whispers of humans with railguns began to circulate, and fear grew. Across sectors, fleets paused, unsure of how to proceed against beings they had long dismissed. Elias walked across the bridge, looking at his crew. This is only the beginning, he said quietly. The crew nodded. They understood. Humans were different, not just in technology, but in thinking and courage, and in their willingness to act when others hesitated. The galaxy had never faced a species like them. Back on the destroyed cruiser, alien survivors tried to send messages to warn their leaders. But it was too late. The legend of the first shot was already being written. Across the stars, civilizations trembled. A single railgun blast had changed everything. And in the silence that followed, the human ship drifted calmly, as if nothing had happened. But the galaxy would remember. The humans had made their mark. The first shot had been heard, and it would echo forever. The question now whispered in every corner of space was simple and terrifying. Who are these humans, and what are they capable of? The stars held their breath, and somewhere, deep in the void, a new chapter for humanity was beginning. Far across the galaxy, in the gleaming heart of the Railgun cluster, the High Council convened. Hollow screens flickered with reports from every corner of the sector. Ships lost, entire fleets shattered. At the center of it all, the impossible, one human ship, responsible for chaos no one had ever imagined. Ambassadors and leaders from dozens of species crowded the chamber. Their voices clashed, a cacophony of fear and anger. "This cannot be," growled Vorthen, still trembling from the loss of his cruiser. "They are only humans. How could a single ship destroy ours?" "They are not ordinary humans," countered Trell, a diplomat from the Xerian Empire. His many eyes darted across the room. "We have underestimated them for centuries. We thought them primitive. We were wrong." The chamber erupted into arguments. Some leaders called for immediate retaliation, demanding that fleets mobilize to crush humanity before they could strike again. Others warned caution. "We do not know their full power," one elder whispered. "A direct attack may lead to annihilation. We cannot fight what we do not understand." Meanwhile, the human ambassador, Captain Elias Ward, arrived aboard the council station. The aliens expected hostility, but instead, he entered calmly, his posture relaxed. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't plead. He merely stood and observed, as if the fate of the galaxy rested entirely in his quiet confidence. A hush fell over the chamber. Aliens had never seen a human act this way. There was no fear, no anxiety, just calm, precise focus. Every eye in the room seemed to study him, trying to decipher a species that had always been underestimated. Elias's voice finally broke the silence. "We do not seek war unless it is forced upon us." His words were simple, yet heavy. Each syllable carried weight. Humans protect what is ours, and we act only when necessary. The galaxy should understand that before it faces consequences, it cannot survive. Whispers spread across the council floor. Some saw this as a threat. Others felt a strange respect. Humans did not need to shout. They did not need grand displays. Their reputation, built in a single night, preceded them. Vorthen pounded a clawed hand on the table. "You cannot threaten the galaxy with mere words. Your ship, your railgun destroyed everything. You have no idea what we can do in response." Elias tilted his head slightly. "Perhaps. But consider this. We have always adapted. We have always survived. And we have never failed when the odds were against us." The council members froze. That statement alone carried centuries of truth about humanity. Stories of humans surviving impossible challenges, of building and creating against all odds, echoed through galactic history. Aliens had mocked humanity for ages, but now fear and uncertainty had replaced ridicule. As the debate raged, communications officers flashed urgent updates. Another human ship had been detected, moving silently toward the outer rim. Fleet commanders whispered among themselves, fear evident in every movement. The humans were not just one ship, they were everywhere, and they struck where the enemy least expected. A Xerian elder leaned forward, voice trembling. "We must attempt diplomacy before we unleash fleets blindly. Humans are clever. They may be unpredictable. If we act without understanding, we risk everything." Vorthen growled in frustration. "Diplomacy is useless. They have already shown their power. They have no fear. How can we negotiate with those who control death at the push of a button?" Elias remained silent, his calmness unbroken. He watched the chaos unfold and understood one simple truth. Fear was the most powerful weapon in the galaxy. And right now, the humans had it. Outside the council chamber, fleets waited. Alien ships floated silently, unaware that every second of delay played in humanity's favor. Humans did not need to rush. Their presence alone created panic, and panic weakened enemies far more effectively than any weapon could. As the council session ended for the day, leaders left with heavy hearts. The galaxy had changed in one night. Humans were no longer the underestimated species they had once been. They were a force to be reckoned with, a species that combined intelligence, strategy, and terrifying weaponry. Back in Human Command Room, Elias observed the galaxy through a viewport. Stars glittered innocently, but he knew what lay between them. Fear, chaos, and opportunity. They are learning, he said quietly to his crew, and they are afraid. Let them remain afraid. That is our advantage. His crew nodded. They had witnessed the destruction, felt the tension in the council, and understood the magnitude of their mission. Humans were not only fighting battles in space, they were changing the way the galaxy thought about them forever. And in the shadowy halls of alien capitals, leaders whispered of humans in hushed, trembling tones. Stories of the first shot, of the destruction of the Vorten cruiser, had already begun to grow into legends. The message was clear. Humans are not ordinary. They are unstoppable. For the first time in galactic history, an entire council feared a single species for what it could become, and the galaxy would never be the same. The silence that followed was heavy, thick with uncertainty. Humans had arrived, and with them, a new era had begun, one defined not by fear of the unknown, but by fear of the humans themselves. Far from the council chambers and alien fleets, deep in human space, the full scale of their power was quietly revealed. Humans had always been underestimated, their ingenuity dismissed by the galaxy's great empires. But what the universe did not understand was this. Humans did not rely solely on brute force. They combined intelligence, creativity, and technology in ways no one could predict. On board the human flagship Aurora, Captain Elias Ward walked through the command deck. Crew members moved swiftly, checking systems, preparing weapons, and running simulations. Each step was precise, each movement purposeful. Unlike other species, humans trained for adaptability, not just obedience. Their advantage was not just in their railguns. It was in how they used them and how they thought. A massive holographic map flickered to life in the center of the deck. Star systems, alien fleets, and strategic points were marked in intricate detail. Elias tapped a point near the Nebulae shadows. "This is where they will strike first," he said, "and this is where we'll be ready." The officer at the console, Lieutenant Mara Chun, nodded. "Sir, sensors indicate multiple alien patrols near the rim. They are scanning for us, but their patterns are predictable." "Predictable?" Elias repeated, a slight smile forming. "Exactly. That is the key. Humans did not just react. They predicted. They studied enemy behavior, exploited patterns, and then struck with precision. Their railguns were deadly, but even the most powerful weapon was useless without understanding how to use it. Meanwhile, in alien space, fleets continued their desperate search for human ships. Every system they scanned came back empty. One by one, alien commanders began to suspect a terrifying truth. Humans were not in one place. They were everywhere. Humans did not just attack. They planned, they hid. They controlled the battlefield before the first shot was ever fired. Back on the Aurora, engineers adjusted railgun power levels. These weapons were unlike anything the galaxy had seen. They could fire projectiles at incredible speeds across light years, piercing the strongest shields. But more importantly, humans had developed targeting systems that combined intuition with AI, allowing near-perfect accuracy even in the chaos of battle. "Captain," said Lieutenant Chun, pointing to a projection, "the Vorten remnants are moving toward the Nebula. They believe we'll attack head-on. They are preparing a trap." Elias nodded slowly. "Let them believe that. Humans are not predictable. We will strike where they least expect." In the alien fleets, panic was quietly growing. Commanders whispered among themselves. Some tried to copy human strategies, but their attempts failed. Humans thought differently. Where aliens relied on numbers and brute strength, humans relied on ingenuity, improvisation, and courage. They used every weakness in enemy logic, every flaw in their assumptions, and turned them into advantage. And then came the moment the galaxy would never forget. From the shadows of the nebula, the human fleet appeared, not as a single ship, but as multiple points of light, striking simultaneously from directions no alien could anticipate. Each railgun fired with precision, obliterating enemy vessels before they could even react. Alien crews could only scream and watch as their strongest ships vanished. Elias observed the battle calmly. Remember, he told his officers, it is not the size of the weapon, but how you use it. Every shot counts. Every choice matters. His voice was steady, unshaken by the chaos around him. Humans fought differently. They combined logic with courage, prediction with creativity. The galaxy had never seen a species like this. Meanwhile, alien commanders tried to regroup. How can this be? One screamed. They appear from nowhere. Their attacks are precise and impossible. The truth was simple, yet terrifying. Humans had created a system no other species could match. Their weapons, their strategy, their adaptability, it all combined into a force that made conventional tactics useless. Every alien attack played into human hands. Every prediction they made was already countered. Back on the Aurora, the first wave of enemies was defeated. Human ships moved on silently, leaving destruction behind. There was no celebration, no bravado. Humans did not need it. Their work was not for glory. It was survival, mastery, and proving the galaxy wrong. The galaxy began to whisper. From rim to the core, from alien worlds to hidden colonies, stories of the humans' secret weapons spread. The railguns were powerful, yes, but it was their minds, their courage, and their unpredictability that made them legends. Elias turned his crew, voice calm but filled with purpose. We have shown them a glimpse of our strength. Remember, it is only the beginning. The galaxy will learn soon enough that humans are not just fighters. They are unstoppable when they think as one. And in the quiet after the first wave of destruction, the stars seemed to shine differently. Somewhere in the void, the galaxy trembled, not from fear of the railguns alone, but from a knowledge that humans had a weapon no alien could see or control: their intelligence. The first lesson was clear: underestimate humans, and you do so at your own peril. The Nebula shadows was a dark, swirling cloud of gas and cosmic dust, stretching across light years of space. To alien fleets, it was the perfect place for a trap. Hiding within the thick clouds, the Vorthan remnants and allied forces prepare to ambush the humans. They believed their numbers and superior firepower would crush the humans once and for all. But humans did not act like others. Captain Elias Ward had studied the Nebula for months, predicting the enemy's every possible move. They think the shadows protect them, he said quietly to his crew. We will make them regret it. Inside the Nebula, alien scouts detected flickers of light. Sensors. Multiple contacts, shouted one officer. They know. That cannot be. Their panic spread quickly. The human ships appeared where the aliens least expected. Small points of light moved in precise formation, weaving through the gas clouds, striking from multiple directions simultaneously. The first railgun fired. A wave of light tore through the nearest Vorthan destroyer. Its shields flared and failed, and the vessel disintegrated in an instant. Alien crews were thrown into chaos. They tried to regroup, but every move they made had already been anticipated by the humans. Lieutenant Mara Chin monitored the enemy formations, her fingers flying over the console. Captain, they are reorganizing. Attempting a pincer maneuver. Good, Elias replied. Let them think they control the battlefield. We will show them how humans fight. The humans split into smaller units, using stealth and precision. They struck, vanished into the nebula, then reappeared where the aliens least expected. Each railgun blast was deliberate, destroying multiple ships at once. The aliens' communications became a chorus of panic and confusion. Impossible, screamed the Vorthan commander. They are everywhere and nowhere. How can one species do this? The humans were calm, controlled, and deadly. Every movement was calculated, yet fluid. Their minds worked as fast as their weapons. Where aliens relied on numbers, humans relied on strategy, unpredictability, and timing. Every shot, every maneuver was perfect. One alien battleship attempted to charge a human flagship directly, hoping to overwhelm it with brute force. Elias anticipated the attack before it began. Activate the deflectors and fire at will, he commanded. The railgun fired a single, precise shot. The battleship exploded, sending fragments into the nebula. Alien reinforcements hesitated, fear evident in their behavior. Meanwhile, scouts and smaller vessels tried to flank the humans. But humans used the nebula itself as a weapon. Gas clouds were ionized by railgun blasts, creating sudden electrical storms that disrupted alien systems. Ships lost power, shields failed, and their formations collapsed. Humans turned the environment, something their enemies thought was a trap, into a deadly advantage. "Captain," Mara said, pointing to a cluster of enemy ships, "they're regrouping near the northern edge. If we move in, we can cut off their retreat." Elias smiled faintly. "Exactly. Prepare the railguns and lead the way." In minutes, the humans executed the maneuver flawlessly. Alien fleets tried to escape, but the humans' coordination was perfect. Railgun fire tore through their formations, cutting off escape routes. Panic spread. Many alien ships surrendered, while others were obliterated in moments. The humans had turned the ambush into a victory, so complete it stunned the galaxy. After the battle, Elias surveyed the nebula through the bridge viewport. Twisted wrecks floated silently, a graveyard for those who had underestimated humanity. Every trap they set, every plan they made, we anticipated. "That is why they fear us," he said quietly. His crew nodded, exhausted but proud. They understood something simple but powerful. Humans were not just strong. They were smart, fearless, and capable of thinking beyond what others imagined. Far across the galaxy, news of the battle spread. Alien leaders whispered of the nebula ambush, telling stories of humans appearing everywhere at once, striking with perfect accuracy and disappearing before retaliation. Fear and respect mingled in every conversation. The myth of human invincibility grew, and no fleet would face them lightly again. Elias turned to his officers. "This is only the beginning. The galaxy will remember this day, but we must remain vigilant. Others will try, again and again, to stop us, and we will always be ready." The stars shimmered quietly around the nebula, bearing witness to the first human victory in open space. One species had turned the impossible into reality, and the galaxy would never forget it. The question on every alien mind now was chillingly clear. How far could humans go? And in the calm after the storm, the human fleet drifted silently into the darkness, prepared for the next challenge, and leaving the galaxy in awe and terror behind them. The news traveled faster than any fleet could fly. Across systems and star clusters, alien worlds whisper to humans. One ship had obliterated a cruiser. Another had turned a trap into disaster. Entire fleets feared the unpredictable strike of a single human fleet. In the core worlds, the council convened again. This time, the fear was palpable. Leaders no longer argued about strategy. They spoke in hushed tones, afraid to attract attention. "The humans, they are everywhere," hissed an elder diplomat from the Xerian Empire. "We cannot fight them conventionally. Our fleets are useless against their unpredictability." Vorthan paced the chamber. "We must retaliate. We must strike before they grow stronger." His voice trembled. Even he, the proud commander, felt doubt. Humans had changed everything. They were no longer the species to dismiss. Across the rim, alien colonies were evacuating systems. Stories of humans using railguns with terrifying accuracy reached worlds light years away. Panic spread, slowing supply lines and undermining morale. Ships that would have fought were abandoned before a shot was fired. Fear itself had become humanity's weapon. Meanwhile, human ships moved silently through the shadows, unseen and unchallenged. Captain Elias Ward monitored reports of alien panic. "Every whisper of fear strengthens us," he said to his crew. "The galaxy believes humans are unstoppable, and for now they are correct." In the nebula of shadows, debris from the recent battle still floated. Sensors picked up alien fleets retreating, regrouping but hesitant. Any engagement they attempted ended in disaster. Humans had taught the galaxy a lesson. Underestimate them and pay the price. Lieutenant Marachin pointed to a system map. "Sir, more fleets are surrendering without firing a single shot. They know we are out there, and they cannot risk engagement." Elias nodded. "It's not just the railguns. It's the idea of humans. They do not fight like anyone else. They adapt. They predict. They survive when others fail. That is our advantage." Alien intelligence agencies scrambled to understand humans. Analysts studied intercepted messages, battle reports, and even debris from destroyed ships. Yet, despite all their efforts, humans remained unpredictable. Their technology, tactics, and thinking were a mystery. Every analysis ended with the same conclusion. Humans could not be defeated using conventional methods. The galaxy was beginning to speak of them not as a species, but as a force of nature. Humans, whispered ambassadors, they are not merely fighters, they are legends in motion. In the human fleet, celebration was unnecessary. Humans did not revel in fear. They respected it as a tool. Elias gathered his senior officers. Let them fear us, yes, but let us also remain vigilant. Fear will not win wars alone. Our strength lies in our minds, our tactics, and our unity. Outside, alien fleets hesitated to move. Orders were delayed. Ships remained docked in uncertain systems. Civilizations debated whether to prepare for defense or attempt diplomacy. Every hesitation was a victory for humans. Even in the core worlds, where diplomacy usually ruled, leaders spoke differently. If we provoke humans, it will be our doom, one said. We must understand them first, or perish. But understanding humans was almost impossible. Unlike other species, humans did not act predictably. They combined strategy, courage, and creativity in ways no alien could anticipate. The railguns were powerful, yes, but it was a human's mind, their ability to adapt, and their fearlessness that truly terrifies a galaxy. Elias observed the reports in silence. He knew the fear they inspired would only grow. Across the galaxy, humans were no longer seen as underdogs. They were a standard others could not reach. Every fleet that paused, every colony that evacuated, every plan that failed, it was all part of a new reality. And somewhere in the darkness of space, other human fleets moved. Silent, precise, watching, waiting. Every system, every fleet, every leader who doubted humanity now faced a single question. What will humans do next? The galaxy trembled, not just from railguns, but from the idea of humans themselves. Legends were born in fire and fear, and humans had just begun writing their story. Elias turned his crew, voice calm and steady. Let them fear, yes, but let us also act. The galaxy is ours to guide, for now, and when the next battle comes, we will be ready. Silence followed, but it was not peace. It was a quiet before the next storm. The humans' victories had spread across light years, and the galaxy had no choice but to tremble. For the first time, civilizations understood a terrifying truth. Humans were no ordinary species. They were brilliant, brave, and unpredictable. And for the first time in history, the galaxy feared the humans not for what they had done, but for what they could do. The galaxy had begun to tremble. News of human victories had spread to every corner, igniting fear and awe in equal measure. For the first time in history, alien empires put aside centuries of rivalry to form a coalition, a single, massive force determined to stop humanity once and for all. Fleet commanders gathered in secret. The Vorthan, Zirian, and Torvian leaders, among others, pooled their resources. Tens of thousands of ships were mobilized. Dozens of star systems were prepared as traps. Their plan was simple: overwhelm the humans with sheer numbers and firepower. They believed they could crush the humans in one decisive battle. But humans did not fear numbers. Captain Elias Ward studied reports of the coalition fleet, noting formations, patterns, and likely strategies. They believe strength is everything, he said quietly to his officers. We will show them that thinking, not numbers, decides battles. The human fleet moved silently, avoiding detection. Railguns primed, stealth systems active, and strategy in place. Every ship, every crew member had trained for this moment. They were ready. Unlike their enemies, humans thrived on unpredictability, while the aliens prepared the battlefield. Humans had already chosen how it would unfold. The coalition fleet struck first. Massive energy beams lit up space, explosions echoing across the void. Human ships dodged and weaved, seemingly appearing in multiple places at once. Railgun blasts tore through alien formations with terrifying precision. One shot destroyed an entire wing of cruisers. Another cut off the enemy's retreat. The aliens, confident in their overwhelming numbers, were stunned. Impossible, shouted a Torvian commander. "They cannot be everywhere at once. How is this possible?" Elias watched calmly from the bridge of the Aurora. "They think they control the fight," he said. "They do not. Humans control it. Using stealth and intelligence, humans divided the coalition fleet into smaller groups. Each group was manipulated, lured into ambushes, and destroyed systematically. Where aliens relied on brute force, humans relied on speed, clever tactics, and anticipation. Every move the enemy made was countered before it even began. Meanwhile, alien commanders attempted a massive coordinated strike on the human flagship. Energy beams converged, aiming to destroy it in a single blow. Elias activated the ship's deflectors and fired the railguns. In a flash, the flagship's weapons obliterated the incoming strike, while simultaneously taking out the lead alien battleship. The coalition's confidence shattered. "Retreat!" screamed Vorthan. "Pull back before they destroy everything." But the humans had already anticipated this. Small teams blocked escape routes, cutting off retreat. The coalition fleet was trapped in a web of human strategy, unable to fight or flee effectively. Even as the aliens struggled, humans moved with precision. Every railgun shot, every maneuver, every command was executed flawlessly. They struck, disappeared, and struck again like ghosts in the void. Ships exploded in waves, debris scattering silently through the darkness. Alien morale collapsed. Elias addressed his crew over the comms. "Remember, our power lies not just in our weapons, but in our minds. Stay focused, predict, adapt, and victory will follow." By the end of the battle, the coalition fleet was shattered. Thousands of alien ships destroyed, retreating forces scattered, and leaders forced to reconsider their assumptions about humans. Where once they saw a minor species, they now saw legends, humans as unstoppable forces in the galaxy. Across light years, survivors whispered stories of the humans' brilliance. Railguns were terrifying, yes, but it was humans' courage, strategy, and unity that made them unstoppable. Every fleet that tried to stop them had been outsmarted, outmaneuvered, and humiliated. Elias looked out at the stars, calm and composed. "They feared numbers," he said softly, "but we taught them that thinking is stronger than strength. Let this be a lesson. The galaxy would never forget the day humans faced the ultimate challenge and triumphed. Alien empires learned a hard truth. No matter how many ships they built or how vast their fleets, humans were not ordinary. Humans adapted, predicted, and struck with a brilliance the galaxy could not match. And somewhere in the darkness of space, humans moved silently, ready for the next challenge. The ultimate victory was not just in defeating fleets. It was in showing the galaxy what humans were capable of. The question remained on every alien mind. What will humans do next? How far can they go? And in the silence that followed, one certainty became clear. Humans had arrived, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The stars shivered in silence as news of the human victory spread. The galaxy had seen the impossible. One species, underestimated for centuries, now stood unchallenged against combined might of empires. Yet for humans, this was not the end. It was only the beginning. Captain Elias Ward stood on the bridge of the Aurora, observing the galaxy through the vast viewport. Debris from destroyed fleets floated silently, like reminders of the power humans now wielded. Behind him, his crew worked with calm efficiency, checking systems, running calculations, and preparing for the next strike. They knew that the galaxy would not wait for humans to relax. Retaliation was inevitable. Reports came in from multiple systems. Alien fleets were reorganizing, smaller groups attempting to strike, while others tried to retreat to safer sectors. But humans had learned the lessons of every battle. They anticipated every move, predicted every reaction, and adapted before the enemy even realized the threat. "Sir," Lieutenant Marchin said, pointing to a holographic projection, "the coalition remnants are gathering near the Orion Expanse. They intend to launch a counterstrike. They believe this will finally stop us." Elias nodded. "Good. Let them believe that. It will make their defeat even sweeter." Humans did not need to rush blindly into battle. Their strategy relied on patience, foresight, and precision. The enemy would come to them, and when they did, humans would be ready. As the alien fleet approached, tension gripped the galaxy. Star systems trembled with fear and anticipation. But humans moved like ghosts, appearing suddenly and striking with lethal efficiency. Railguns fired across unimaginable distances, each shot perfectly calculated to maximize impact. Entire formations disintegrated before the aliens could even react. In the heart of the battle, the human flagship fired a single, decisive railgun shot. The projectile streaked through space, faster than anything previously imagined. It struck the lead alien dreadnought, tearing through its hull, shields, and core systems in one perfect strike. The explosion echoed across light years, sending shockwaves that disrupted enemy formations and threw ships into chaos. "Impossible!" cried a Vorthan commander. "How can one shot?" His words died as his ship shuddered violently. Panic spread through the coalition fleets. They were powerful, yes, but nothing had prepared them for humans. One species, using ingenuity, courage, and precision, had turned every advantage the aliens thought they had into weakness. Elias observed quietly, his calmness unshaken. "Humans do not fight like others," he said softly to Mara. "We predict, we adapt, and we strike when it matters most." Alien fleets collapsed under the relentless pressure. Ships surrendered, retreated, or were destroyed. Civilization after civilization realized a chilling truth. Humans could not be stopped by numbers, technology, or fear alone. Humans' greatest weapon was their intelligence, creativity, and unity. Across the galaxy, whispers spread. Humans are unstoppable. One ship can destroy a fleet. They control the battlefield like no one else. Stories of railgun blasts, ambushes, and victories grew into legend. Fear and respect intertwined, marking humans as a species unlike any other. And yet, the humans did not celebrate. There was no triumphalism, no boasting. Their mission was not to dominate for glory, but to ensure survival, protect their systems, and demonstrate what humans could achieve when pushed to the limits. Every crew member knew the truth. The galaxy underestimated humans at its own peril. As the last alien fleet retreated, silence fell over the battlefield. Stars shone brightly, oblivious of the chaos below. But the galaxy had changed forever. Humans had carved their mark with fire, strategy, and unparalleled bravery. One species had shifted the balance of power, and the universe would never forget it. Elias turned to his crew. "This is only the beginning," he said. "The galaxy has seen what humans can do. They will think twice before underestimating us again, and we will be ready wherever they come." The crew nodded, their eyes reflecting determination, pride, and the calm confidence that came from knowing they were extraordinary. Humans were not just survivors. They were pioneers, warriors, and legends in the making. And somewhere, across countless worlds and fleets, the galaxy whispered the same chilling thought. Humans have railguns, and they are unstoppable. The stars seemed to shimmer differently that night, as if acknowledging the tremor that had passed through the galaxy. One species had rewritten the rules of power. One species had shown that courage, intelligence, and adaptability could topple empires. One species had become a legend. The humans had arrived. And the galaxy would never be the same again. The galaxy had begun to recover from the shock of the human victories. Alien fleets were shattered, colonies trembling, and legends of humans with unstoppable railguns echoed across light years. Yet, even in victory, humans knew the universe held secrets they had not yet faced. Captain Elias Ward stood on the bridge of the Aurora, staring into the dark void beyond. "They will come back," he said quietly. Marachin nodded. "We've seen their fear, but fear alone will not stop them forever." Reports came in of mysterious signals, far beyond human-controlled space. Unidentified ships, silent and fast, moved through uncharted systems. No one knew who they were, but intelligence suggested they were watching humanity's rise. Across alien worlds, survivors of the shattered coalition whispered of a new threat. If humans could defeat us, who else can challenge them? The question hung in the void, unanswered and terrifying. Elias turned to his crew. "Humans have proven what we can do, but the galaxy is vast, and danger lurks where we cannot see. We prepare, we adapt, and we strike when needed. This is not the end. It is the beginning of a new era. And somewhere, in the shadows of distant galaxies, a presence stirred. Unknown, powerful, and patient. The humans' first victory had shaken the known universe, but the stars themselves hinted that the real challenge had yet to arrive. The crew looked at the stars silently. The legend of humans had begun, but the galaxy held countless mysteries. And when the next threat came, the humans would be ready. The tremor across the galaxy was only the first.